Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is A Simple Budget. Here on my channel I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to maintain a simplified financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. All right, well, hello everyone and happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. This is not a holiday that we celebrate in the Simple household typically. I mean, I do like little things for my kids, but generally speaking, we don't make too big of a deal out of it. Although I say that, and we actually, oh my gosh, I found the best deal the other day on ribeyes at Kroger for $6.99 a pound, which was incredible. So we're going to be reverse searing those. And I am actually making brownies for my hubby and kiddos. So I guess I am sort of treating it a little bit like a holiday, but it's not like we don't go overboard or anything like that. So anyways, you guys will have to let me know if you're a Valentine's celebrator or if you guys just largely overlook it as well. I'm always curious to see other holidays, like how people choose to celebrate them. Because like for me, Halloween isn't a big deal, but there are some people who like are obsessed with Halloween and go all out. So it's always fun to like get to know how people do things differently. So anyways, hi, I'm Veda and I talk all the time. I am here with you today with our weekly check-in. I have not done one of these videos in a couple of weeks. We've had like some weird hiccups in our just like general life schedule. And so I haven't gotten to it. But this week I was determined to get this video out for you guys, especially if you are new to the budgeting community and you are trying to work your way toward paying down debt. I was actually sharing on my Instagram stories today. I'll leave my Instagram handle up on the screen for you. If you're interested in following me over there, I am trying to make a concerted effort to be a little bit more active over on Instagram this year. That's like one of my like personal little goals that I have for myself. But anyways, I was lamenting over on my stories how Mr. Simple told me this morning that American debt is up at $1.2 trillion, which is a dollar amount that I just cannot wrap my mind around. And it frightens me actually for Americans and their future. They're like, I never really, I mean, I do have feelings about taxes and I share those regularly, but I don't get political here. But no matter what side of the aisle, the political aisle you fall on, I think it is a generally accepted viewpoint that if you do not have financial freedom, you are more susceptible to the evils of a government. If you are not free financially, then you can be controlled more easily. And so that is definitely not something that I want for Americans, for just the way that we live our day-to-day lives. Financial freedom is one of the like ultimate sources of freedom, because if you don't need anything from other people from a financial standpoint, and if you don't need anything from your government from a financial standpoint, then you are more free in that way. And that will be the only time I ever touch on any kind of politics here. That is a divisive thing that I am never, ever wanting to bring to the table, so to speak. But the $1.2 trillion really made me sad, because I feel like sometimes it's really easy to get stuck here in the echo chamber of the budgeting community, where we're all sort of working toward a goal of financial health and making sure that we've got all of our ducks in a row and investing wisely and spending intentionally and all of those sorts of things. But it was jarring to me to see that. And I understand, like, we live in a consumerist sort of world now. It's so easy to fall prey to buying more and consuming more. And that sort of mentality gets you into trouble financially every time. And if I could just encourage you to do anything, it would be to shift your focus away from things like that. Start to really look at your money, what you spend your money on, your financial health, what you can actually afford to do in your day-to-day life, and then make the changes necessary so that you can get out from underneath of the debt that you have hanging over you. we've talked a lot here about like financial goals, and we've even had to shift around our financial goals this year just because of the way that things are going with the government right now. It feels a little uncertain. And so we had an original goal of saving up 3 months, our 3 months of our expenses, and then and 3 months of expenses in as an emergency fund, like treating that as an emergency fund, and then pausing saving for an emergency fund and doing some other things. And then once we did the other things, we were going to start focusing on the emergency fund again. Well, we have nixed that entirely. And now we are just saving all the way until we get to 6 months of expenses in our high yield savings account, which we're actually going to be switching banks soon. And I'll talk about that in a different video. But basically, we've had to shift around the way that we do things, but not having debt hanging over us has been a huge relief in sort of semi-uncertain times. And so that is really my goal here. I just want everybody to be financially free. I don't want any of you having debt hanging over your head. And if I could just encourage you to do one thing, it would be that. It would be to sit down and go over your finances and come up with a plan that you can actually stick to that helps you to get out from underneath of your debt. That is the one thing that I want for anybody who comes across my channel more than anything else in the entire world. So as I've mentioned before here on my channel, this video that I do hopefully do every Friday with you guys, my weekly check-in where we go over all of our expenses for the last week, hold our spending accountable. And then of course I do take the money, like if I've spent from a category, if I've used my debit card or I've purchased something online for a category that we cash stuff for, I have to return this money to the bank. But the main focal point of this video is accountability. Expense tracking is the ultimate task that you have to get yourself on board with doing if you want to stick to your budget. The plan doesn't work if the accountability doesn't come afterward to make sure that the plan is functioning properly. And I've said this before on my channel as well. There are going to be some times throughout your budgeting experience where you will realize that you're going to need to amend the way that you originally thought that you might be able to fund a certain category or whatever. We've had to switch around how like the dollar amounts that we put toward different things as we've realized over the course of time, hey, we actually spend more in this or we spend less in this. And we change our budget accordingly. Having a plan that is amenable and giving yourself grace when it comes to making that plan and changing that plan is super duper important, but also understanding that all of that is for naught if you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't do your expense tracking. So now that I'm done lecturing and preaching, I'm going to go ahead and get into this week's expenses. So let me just grab my budget planner here. Oh gosh. I'm just going to have to keep it there. This dashboard is a new design. It is listed in my Etsy shop. If you're interested, I am running a Valentine's Day sale through this weekend. Please don't buy something from me if it is not in budget. Please, 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 I beg you. But if it is in budget, I would be very happy for you to purchase from my shop. And again, all through, like from now through Sunday, my entire Etsy shop is going to be on sale for Valentine's Day. So I have dashboards, envelopes, inserts, placeholders, all that kind of, it's all, anything that can be handmade is handmade by me. But let me just pop back here really quickly to my expense tracker. Oh, do you know what? I actually do need to pull out my bank return tracker as well. So where did he go? There we go. Okay, don't catch on fire though, because a fire is not in the budget for a while. Okay, yeah, let me grab that bank return tracker too. Okay, I'll just grab these pages out. And what I'm gonna do now is zoom you guys in, and then we will actually get into the expense tracking. All right, here we are. We actually don't have too many expenses to go over this week. We've just kind of had like a sort of low spendy kind of week for us. So this shouldn't take very long, so I can go into a little bit more detail. But first up, we've got this Target purchase for $21.13. I popped in there so that I could pick up my daughter's Valentine's for her classmates. And then I needed some little scrubby brushes for dishwashing. Sorry, I got interrupted there by my kiddos. So the total purchase was $21.13. 17 of that was for Valentine's Day, and $4 is for household. I am not going to have all of the money in the Valentine's envelope because I knew that I was going to spend a little bit more this month on Valentine's than we had saved. So what I ultimately ended up doing was I'm going to be supplementing this with my Etsy and YouTube pay. So I will obviously return whatever I have in the envelope to the bank, but then everything else will be made up for with my Etsy and YouTube pay. But I will be returning $4 to household. Next up, we have a Poshmark purchase. So I have mentioned to you guys before, I buy and sell a lot on Poshmark, especially when it comes to jeans. If I can find shoes and stuff too, I've done that from time to time. But I think I've mentioned to you guys before, I lost a little bit of weight, and then and I've decided that I needed to buy some new jeans. And I'm in the process right now of looking for pairs of jeans that I already have and love, just in smaller sizes. And I utilize Poshmark for that because my favorite jeans in the whole wide world are Madewell jeans. I love the quality. And you can always find them secondhand for significantly cheaper than you can buy them brand new in the store. I've gotten to the point where every now and then, even if they're like a used pair of jeans, I don't care as long as there's very little wear on it. But this was one that was brand new with tags on. So I got it for $46.53. But I'm only returning $7 to the bank because I actually sold a pair of jeans as well. Or actually, no, I sold a blazer. So I sold it for $40. And so, I sold it for more than that, but that was my profit after all the fees and stuff. And so I only have to return $7 for my envelope for that in particular. Next up, we had a Kroger purchase. This was the steaks that I was telling you guys about. I bought something else from there too, but the total purchase came to $65.16. And I am not actually returning any grocery money to the bank. What I've been doing is sort of just, I've talked about this. I actually talked about this in my budget with me. I'll go ahead and leave that video linked for you guys now. My goal with grocery shopping now is to find meat deals, stock my freezer, and then spend the rest of the month just filling out what I need from my grocery money. And so that's what's happening here. So I will have less to spend in the coming weeks, but I will also have less that I need to buy because my freezer is so stocked with meat right now because I've been getting it on sale and stuff. So the grocery money isn't being returned, but the way that we compensate for this is just deducting from future stuffings for groceries in particular. So you'll see that a couple times as we go through here. Next up was a Valentine's purchase as well. I bought a couple little gifts for my kiddos. I did books and just a variety of different things for them. And so the total came to $9.93, and I'm going to be returning $10 to the bank. And I'll tell you guys about how we handle this now. So whenever we have a purchase where there's change involved, which is almost all of them, we usually round up to the nearest dollar, and then my husband will track that change overage in a line item on a spreadsheet that he keeps that we lovingly refer to as the virtual coin jar. And basically what we treat that as is just a little mini miscellaneous fund where we will add change into it, we'll pull change from it, depending on how much change is available or how much change we've spent per purchase. So that's just sort of, again, it's its own separate little category line item that my husband tracks, but he does track the change. And we do really make sure that when we're reconciling all of our budgeting things, we are literally down to the penny. That's how he likes to maintain it. And I don't argue with him because it's his job. He does it. He loves it. Next up, we had another Target purchase. This one was for $74.02, and this broke down into a couple different categories as well. 30 of it was for household items, $19.02 was for grocery items. And then Valentine's again was $25. So I did go maybe like a smidge overboard with Valentine's Day this year, but I don't know. I couldn't help it. I was like really feeling it. And so because I can compensate for that by pulling from Etsy money, I don't really mind leaning into that every now and then if that's how I'm feeling. So that's what I decided to do. Next up, another Amazon purchase, and this one was for $9.32. And so this is one of those examples where we actually rounded down and we pull this 32 cents from the virtual coin jar. So that's what I mean. Like we just sort of ebb and flow what we add to it and then what we pull from it. Usually if we have a dollar or a change amount that's like over 50 cents, we'll round up. And if we have one that's under 50 cents, we round down. And that's just sort of like our way of handling the change amounts in purchases. But again, that's coming from Valentine's Day. And again, I know I'm over on what we budgeted for Valentine's Day this year, but I will be compensating for that with Etsy and YouTube Pay this month. So next up, Mr. Simple had a doctor visit. You guys know, I think I mentioned on Monday and Wednesday that he had 2 different emergency room visits and he just had to follow up to make sure that everything was okay. And so I think it was just, this was like a copay. So $30 and $30 will be going back to the bank. Next up, this was, if you guys have been around here for a while, you know that I was very naughty. And about 2 months ago, I purchased a purse, which I absolutely love. And I will be including it in my like quarterly, what I spent intentionally video, even though this was not an intentional purchase. This was an impulse purchase, but it would have been an intentional purchase if I had purchased it intentionally. But I want to include it because it's a quality item that I spent money on that I would have sort of saved for if I had been thinking more critically. And even though technically it wasn't debt, technically it was debt, it was like both. And I got a nice scolding from Mr. Simple for doing it because he's like, this is not how we buy things. We buy things with cash that we've already saved, not with cash that we're going to have in the future. So I will not be doing that again, as if you've been here and you saw my financial goals for 2025 video, you will know that I am spending intentionally and not impulsively. This is my own personal goal this year, but I still had to pay back the purchase that I made. This was the last payment for it of $36. And so I am officially done with it from this point forward. So good news all around. Next up was a Kroger purchase. This was a purchase that is specific to Mr. Simple and my daughter. She mentioned in passing to me a couple of weeks ago, I hope Daddy asks me to be his Valentine. And so I relayed that to Mr. Simple and he was like, oh my gosh, how do I not ask her to be my Valentine? So he got her a little Valentine's card that he could write in for her. I just thought it was really sweet. And I just thought I loved the way her little mind worked and the way that she thought about that. And so we couldn't not give in to that. So it was definitely an unplanned $6.48, but a worthwhile $6.48. I think you would agree. Next up, we had a Sprouts purchase. This was just, again, for groceries, $19.98. And I would be returning $20 from the bank. We're just going to reconcile this purchase in a future stuffing. So that's how we handle that. And then we rented a movie, and I'm trying to remember which one from Prime Video. What was it? $4.10. We've been doing this here and there lately because we really like a Friday movie night with our kids. And we're really trying to showcase 90s movies that we love and grew up on, but I can't remember what this one was. But either way, it was $4.10, and I'll be returning $4 to the bank. And then last up, actually, this was a visit to a liquor store to purchase a bottle of vodka for a friend of ours who had a 35th birthday party last weekend, actually. It was $32.46, and I will be I'll be returning $33 to the bank. I will leave the vodka down below. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen too, because I just was they're from New York, so when I saw this bottle, I totally judge alcohol by the bottle. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be wine, it can be bourbon, it can be vodka, it can be anything. I judge them by their labels and their bottles. And I was totally attracted to this bottle and this label. And then it was even more fun that it was vodka made from apples from New York, and they're from New York. So I just I couldn't leave it there, and I loved the bottle and the label, and so that's why I bought it. So I'll be curious to see if they like it because they're big vodka fans. But yeah, so anyways, it's coming from Gifts. I've been telling you guys are probably cracking up because I'm like, Gifts keeps taking a hit. I keep trying to build it back up, and then somebody else invites us to something, and then we have to, give them a gift, which I'm happy to do. And I'm very, very happy that we have this built into our budget now that we can accommodate stuff like that. But it is frustrating when you're like, I just replenished this envelope and then somebody else decided to have a birthday. So I need a little break because my daughter's birthday is this month too. So what in the world? Anyways, now that we are done with this portion, I'm going to go ahead and zoom us back out. And what we're going to do is get into the actual unstuffing portion of the video. All right. So I always zoom you guys through this because watching me use a calculator is not why you are here. But I'm going to go ahead and add up all of the return to bank cash amounts so that I know roughly what to expect to have at the end of the unstuffing, and then we'll actually get into the unstuffing. All right, so I should have $211 at the end of this, and I always make a little note of that just so I know, because I will forget, because I am the forgetful queen. Let me grab this too. I have my bank return tracker. This, by the way, I'm still working on my budget planner, but this bank return tracker was actually the idea of one of my subscribers, Jessie. I will be forever grateful to her for this idea. Because this is where I can track all of my bank returns, and it makes it really easy when we're reconciling our budgets. But like Mr. Simple and I, when we're reconciling our budget so that I know exactly what I returned, but it also offers me an opportunity for a balance check with a date on there. So, again, love this idea, and it is going to be included in my new version of my budget planner, which still has a to be determined, listing date. But again, I've mentioned this before, once it does go live in my shop, I will offer the same 25% off that I was going to have for it in January. So don't fret. But I'm going to go ahead and put the date here. So it's 2/14. Here, let me just got my arrow there from the last time. Okay. So the way that I like to go about doing this is just sort of in order from high priority sinking funds all the way through. So I'm just going to grab my high priority. Oh, you know what I need? There it is. I was like, where? My cash tray here. This is from an Etsy shop called Funds and Fun. Absolutely love her. The quality of this is unmatched. I will go ahead and leave her shop linked below for you if you are interested in purchasing anything from her. But I love this. I use it all the time, all the time. Okay, here we go. So yeah, jumping into high priority sinking funds first, we've got household. So I know I had more than one. So 430. Oh, that's it. Okay, so 34 from household. There we go. 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me change too, which is nice. All right, and that leaves me with $5, $6, $7, $8 in household. Oops. Okay. So I have 8 left. And I returned 34 household. All right, and so then I can check off those 2 purchases because I reconciled them. All right, next up, again, I'm not returning any of the groceries. Valentine's, oh, medical, $30. Medical, oops. All right, so, all right, and that leaves me with 35. I returned 30 medical. I always write down my balance first because I will forget this number. I can always just reconsult this paper if I need to, if I forget what I returned. But I will forget. Like you guys, if you've been around here for any amount of time, you know that I'm always like, what did I just say? What did I just say? Because I forget everything all the time. Okay. I think that actually does it for us in high priority sinking fund. So we're going to move on to low priority. And let's just go into hers first. So I have, oops. I have 7 and 36. So 43 is what I am returning. Whoops. 20, 30, 40. Oh, no way. That's too perfect. All right. 20, 30, 43. 20, 30, 43. And I have $5 left. This is my spending money. You guys will know, I think I mentioned this in my stuffing on Monday. I'm shifting around how I stuff my own personal spending. So I have hers, which is just for like impulse spending that I will be stuffing just with one stuffing a month. And then the rest of it is going to go into my Save Yo Money Ho envelope so that I am encouraging myself to save for things that are meaningful or higher quality or will have like longevity in my wardrobe or my life in some capacity. So that is my goal moving forward. But that is coming from impulse spending. So that's how we're handling that. I have $5 left. What did I stuff? Or I returned 43 and that was from hers. And then I'll just check these off. So check that off and that. And then I think Family Fun is the only other low priority. Yeah, and I'm just returning 4 from Family Fun. All right. And that leaves us with 20, 30, 40, 51. All right. 51, I returned 4. Sorry if you can hear my kiddos in the background. They had a half day of school today. All right, so that's gonna do it for low priority. So now we are in holiday and Valentine's is being cleaned out, but let me go into gifts first and grab out, what did I say? 33. 20, okay, so 20, 30, 5, and I'll grab back 2. And now in gifts, we've got 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I returned 33 gifts. Okay, I'll put a little check mark there. And then Valentine's, I'm gonna add up here. So I had 17, 10, 25, 9, and 6. So that's a total of $67. We don't even have close to that. So 10, 15, 16 minus 16. And so that leaves me with a deficit of $51 that I will have to make up for. So I'll just subtract 51 from here. And now I know what I need to make up for with my Etsy and YouTube stuffing. And that's just how that works. So I stuffed 16. I have $0 left in Valentine's. And maybe I will increase what I give it over the next year as well. I think that probably won't be the worst idea I've ever had. Okay, so I think that's it. That was all of the Valentine's purchases. Yep, that's it. Okay, all right, so then let me just give this cash account. I should have, so 211 minus 51. I should actually have $160 sitting here. So let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 10, 20, 30, 45, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 160. So we did it. And that is how we go about reconciling our purchases. We do expense tracking throughout the week, and then I just record what I've returned to the bank on my bank return tracker so that I know like what we've held accountable versus what we haven't. Like, so for example, what I'm gonna do with this $51 is go over into my Etsy and YouTube paycheck breakdowns and just notate that I need to compensate for $51 with those paychecks with Valentine's Day. And that's how we'll handle that. So it works out for sure. But that is it for me. That's going to do it for today's video. Shorter and sweeter than my weekly check-ins are usually capable of being. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you did, I would love it so much if you would give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your plans are for this weekend. We are just laying low around here. We're gonna do like little things with the kids, a fun library visit, things like that. And just enjoy one another's company this weekend, but keep it kind of quiet. So that'll be nice. I always like weekends like that. But I will be back here with you guys again on Monday with our regular old cash stuffing. Mr. Simple will be back with us. And next Wednesday, we finally have our coin counting Q&A video coming for you guys. So I really hope that you are looking forward to that as well. If you've missed all of my times that I've asked for questions and you want to submit a question for the Q&A, feel free to leave it down in the comments of this video and we will definitely get to it for you guys for next Wednesday's Q&A. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and I will be back here and see you again on Monday. Bye everyone.